I took the exact same app and ran it on Node, Bun, and Deno. The install times alone range from 4 seconds to 31. But speed isn't the whole story, and the runtime that won probably isn't the one you'd guess from the benchmarks. 3 runtimes, 1 real app, 4 tests that actually matter. Let's find the winner. First, the lineup. Node is the incumbent, 17 years old, the biggest ecosystem in software, and the safe default. Nobody gets fired for choosing. Deno came next, from Node's own creator, built to fix Node's original sins, secure by default, TypeScript native, a single clean toolchain. Then Bun, the newcomer, written in a low-level language called Zig, chasing one thing above all else, raw speed, with a bundler, a test runner, and a package manager all built in. So that's the matchup. Node, the safe veteran. Deno, the principal redesign. Bun, the speed demon. I gave all three the same job, a small web API with a database and a handful of routes, and then I measured 4 things. The first test is the one you feel every single day. How long does it take to install your dependencies? This is where Bun made its name. On the same package list, npm on Node took 31 seconds. Deno, which caches differently, came in around 14. Bun finished in 4. 4 seconds versus 31 is not a small win. It's an 8 times difference, and you pay that cost every time you set up a project or a fresh CI run. If install speed is your daily pain, Bun isn't a little faster here. It's in a different category. And it compounds. A team of 10 developers each running installs a dozen times a day, turns that 27-second gap into hours every week, plus faster CI on every single push. Point 1 goes to Bun decisively. The second test is cold start, how fast the runtime boots and serves the first request. This matters enormously for serverless, where a cold start is a real user waiting. Node booted and served in about 42 milliseconds. Deno landed close, around 38. Bun came in at 8. Again, Bun takes it. And again, it's not close. For anything that scales to 0 and back, that gap is the difference between a snappy endpoint and a sluggish one. To put that in perspective, 8 milliseconds versus 42 is roughly 5 times faster to first byte, and on a function that wakes up thousands of times an hour, that's compute you're literally paying for. 2 tests, 2 clean wins for Bun. At this point, you'd be forgiven for thinking this video is over, but here's where it turns. The third test is the boring one that decides real projects. Does your stuff actually work? Node's ecosystem is effectively every JavaScript package ever published, all of it battle tested against Node first. Deno has gotten dramatically better at running npm packages, but you still hit edges. Bun aims for full Node compatibility, and it's close, but close is not the same as done. On my real app, Bun choked on 2 native dependencies that Node ran without a blink. One was a database driver, the other an image library, both compiled against Node's internals in ways Bun doesn't fully replicate yet. Deno ran one of the two after a config tweak. Node ran both on the first try. That is the thing, the benchmark videos never show you. The fastest runtime that can't run your dependency is slower than the slow one that can, because you're now debugging instead of shipping. Test 3 goes to Node, and is the most important test of the 3. The fourth test isn't a number. It's a question: would I run this in production today for real users at 3 in the morning when something breaks? Node has 17 years of postmortems, fixes, and Stack Overflow answers behind it. When it breaks, someone has already broken it the same way and written down the fix, and every major host, monitoring tool, and deploy platform treats it as the default. Deno is stable and thoughtfully built, and its standard library is genuinely excellent, but its production footprint is smaller, so you're more often the first to hit a given problem, and the tooling around it is thinner. Bun is improving fast, but it is the youngest, and fast and young is exactly the combination you do not want holding your only copy of something important. For battle-tested production, Node still takes it. So let's add it up honestly. Bun won speed twice, and it wasn't close. Node 1 compatibility and production track record, the two that hurt most when they go wrong. Deno didn't win a category outright, but it never embarrassed itself either, and it's the most pleasant to actually write. So here's my real call, and it's not one winner, it's three, because the right answer depends entirely on what you're building. For a brand new side project where speed is a joy and breakage is cheap, use Bun and enjoy it. The fast feedback loop genuinely makes building more fun. For a production app with real users and real uptime, stay on Node a while longer. Boring is a feature when it's holding your money, and the ecosystem maturity pays for itself the first time something breaks. And for a script, a CLI, or a tool you're writing just for yourself, Deno is the nicest experience of the three, secure by default and TypeScript native with zero config or build step to set up. The honest headline isn't Bun 1, it's that the fastest runtime is the right call far less often than its benchmarks suggest, and knowing which test matters for your situation is the whole skill. So which one are you reaching for, and for what? Bun for the speed, Node for the safety, or Deno for the developer experience? Tell me in the comments, especially if you shipped Bun to production, because I want to know how it held up. And if this comparison saved you a weekend of benchmarking, do me a favor, hit like and subscribe. It genuinely tells me these are worth making, and it's what lets me keep doing them. Next, I'm putting 3 AI coding agents on the same real bug to see which one actually fixes it. I think you'll be surprised who wins. I'll see you there.